Well, these are the stories we are tracking at this hour, and joining us to make sense of these stories, we have Charles Fakroha, a stockbroker and iBrandTV senior analyst. He's right here with me in the studio. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Pepe, for having me.
All right. Well, the first story talks about SMEs complaining that they are taxed, multiple taxations.
Yes.
And then on the one hand, we have the government saying it wants to improve its tax net, that more people need to be captured, we need to capture more people.
Yes.
And then on the other hand, we have business owners complaining, saying that they are taxed on all fronts. How do we strike a balance here?
Yes. For every government, of course, they need to make use of tax optimally, but at the same time, you don't do that to kind of create an environment that is not conducive for SMEs. So there must be a balance. First of all, the basic tax that the SMEs need to pay, for example, the pay for their staff, which is what I would recommend the government to ensure that is properly collected. Then at the same time, yes, they can look at some of these SMEs. We've seen in so many other places, they give them tax holidays. They even reduces the taxes for them based on the important role they are playing in the economy of developing countries. Now, SMEs are not that sophisticated, to compete with the multinationals. So you need to give them certain opportunity for them to continue to be competitive. So yes, the government has a responsibility to ensure that they collect their tax, but at the same time, not to the detriment of these SMEs.
All right. I would like us to talk a little about government's interest in increasing the tax net. I've always asked this question. How do we know the people that are captured, the ones that are not captured? How do we know the ones who are contributing to the leakages we're talking about? Do we have data? Do we have the number? Because it wouldn't be enough for the federal government to say we want to increase tax, but we need to have the numbers. Okay, this is the percentage that we have covered. This is the percentage of default we have seen so far, and this is how we are planning to. I know that the Finance Act actually tried to address the issue of tax evasion, where they plug something to the system and all of that. Though some persons have come against it, but maybe that is the solution that would help us. I'd like to hear your thought.
Yes, for any system, if you are not able to capture, the data is very key. You're not able to capture those people who are supposed to be paying tax, then there is a problem. So we need to work on that data capturing. For every SME that is registered, you have more than 5-6%. Of course, they should be able to be captured, because that is very key. There are so many of them that has not been captured, but at the end of the day, at least they are still able to produce services, goods, they sell, they make money. So the government should also benefit from those kind of SMEs. So data capturing is very key. The government has to do all it takes, looking at all the technology that's involved to capture any SME that is in Nigeria, because this will also go a long way in helping them in terms of planning and the necessary assistance that these SMEs will require to kickstart our economy.
That's a good one. Well, let's look at what's the import of the surge or increase in the use of mobile for financial transactions. We're saying that it keeps increasing over 100% when you compare what we have in this 9-month period to what we had in the full year 2021.
Again, it goes to show that when a particular service is doing so well, you will see even the illiterates, because you don't even need to be literate to understand that mobile transfer. The average old woman in the village can do it as long as she can make phone call, she can receive, then of course. So, and that is the essence of financial inclusion. That is, you can see people carry less of cash these days because they have come to see that mobile transfer as an important tool in terms of their financial transaction. So you can see that moving forward, yes, government should also now see how the telecos will improve their services in those rural communities and continue to improve so that we'll have more and more rural folks getting involved and using and seeing that as the normal, so that at the end of the day we'll have a lot of people who are involved in this mobile transfer transactions.
Well, I think it's a good one, talking about financial inclusion, because that's really very important.
Yes.
And government also has tried to support, in that regard. Well, let's look at this climate change investment, where Nigeria will be getting about 7% of the $1 trillion. I know you're big on climate change, so talk to us about this. In what ways can, the government put this money into use? What should we say? I mean, we're already experiencing flooding, and the effect is terrible, detrimental. Exactly,
everywhere.
that's the word.
Our heart still goes to those victims. Yes. The International Finance Corporation, of course, the World Bank, they have come to see that there is no going back again. If we must talk about sustainable development, then they need to support developing countries. And I'm so happy that they are coming out with this. But at the same time, we here locally, it's not left for us now, our government, and of course, even the financial institutions, to have a full department in their various institutions to see that people are educated when it comes to not just climate finance, but sustainable finance, because climate finance is just a subset of sustainable finance, where people need to understand that even for you to produce, your production has to be sustainable, because you cannot continue to make use of the environment, and at the end of the day, you are destroying the environment.
I'd like you to stay a little on sustainable finance or sustainable development, because some person, when you hear sustainable, you're thinking, okay, what are we sustaining? But I'd like you to, dwell a little on that.
Yes, when you say sustainable finance, of course, coming from the word sustainable development, when you do a project, you support a project that's environmentally friendly. That is one. Then at the same time, that project, you don't make use of child labor. Then at the same time, there is governance. So you can say that it's all encompassing. So sustainable finance from sustainable development ensures that what man is doing is in totality, because we did not inherit this earth, this our planet, from our forefathers. We borrowed it from the children yet unborn. So it's our responsibility to ensure that we take care of this planet. So when we are producing, it must be sustainable production. When we are consuming, it must be sustainable consumption. At the end of the day, the quality of this planet will be improved so that we can sustain life on a continuous basis on this planet. Because me and you, we don't have any other planet we are going to. This is our planet. This earth has been given to us. And that is why I support the IFC, and they are supporting the developing countries. So we don't have any excuse, because we will say, if you don't want us to live sustainably, then we will go back to our old ways. But they are supporting you with the finances now. So we don't have any excuse. We can't even afford
to go back to our old ways, because we can see the devastating effect of climate change. I mean, it's telling already, so there is no.
But I don't want to mention, we have seen a potential aspirant who made comment. Of course, it was taken out of context, because he's saying, if you want us to live sustainably, then you need to support us. But we are saying now, like you have said, we have seen the reality. So we just need on our own to see that we need to live sustainably. We're not living for somebody else. We are living it for ourselves.
It's all right.
We have seen the benefit.
I see the passion. And you've not mentioned PPP today. I was hoping you would say
triple bottom line.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Well, I like the analogy of we borrowing the planet from our children unborn. Yes. I mean, that gives that sense of responsibility, really, and you want to do something about it to keep it safe.
Exactly.
All right. Finally, NCC is planning to offer 2 additional slots of the 3.5 gigahertz spectrum, and this is for the deployment of 5G network. Each will cost $273.6 million. Talk to us about this.
Well, there have been so much talk about the 5G, and of course, we're happy that the telcos are ready for it. But my question will be, of course, this is going to be an improvement to what we already have. So when you talk in terms of data, you want to ensure that the quality of this service is going to be improved, and of course, people can begin to do video conferencing. It will be very clear, voice, data, and of course we'll see an improvement in terms of whatever we are doing when it comes to the network. That's what I want to see, and I must commend the government for being painstaking to ensure that the people who are going to get this thing, they have that capacity to deploy it, and we see an improvement in our broadband penetration when it comes to 5G.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
It's my pleasure, always.
Okay. Well, we've been speaking with Charles Fakroha, a stockbroker and iBrandTV senior business analyst. And still to come, the market resumes today after Monday's holiday break following last week's decline. What do you expect today? Well, we shall be right back. Stay with us.